You probably fell into that same trap. That's why you're here. Don't worry, no shame in it. I did it too. So why do we end up in bed with our ex? Was the sex that good? Or do we want to rekindle what once was? Or are we using them as a rebound? Maybe it's just a familiar. The question remains, are you both on the same page? What's friends with benefits think? Are you in a situationship? Girl, grab your glass of something, whatever that is, and come watch or listen to Sandra and I, a girlfriend-style conversation. Yes, you're welcome to join us. And for you men out there, come have a listen. You may learn a thing or two about us women in this conversation. You're welcome. I aim to educate. Come for a ride on the healing train. I'm Rania, your host, relationship coach, speaker, author, practicing energy healing modalities. I bring to you these discussions so we can heal, become empowered, and grow together. This content contains mature subject matters. Listener and viewer discretion is advised. To work with me, you can find me on www.r2rcoaching.ca. Want to be a guest on the show? Send an email to guest@healingtrain.ca. Hello and welcome once again to another episode on the Healing Train podcast with Rania. And in this series, we are talking all things sex, relationships, and everything in between. And today I have with me a special guest, dear to my heart. She is my friend, Sandra Martinez. Welcome, Sandra, to the show.
Hi, thank you for having me, Rania.
Don't be all shy. We're going to have
Right?
fun in this conversation today. But before we get into it, just introduce yourself briefly, who you are.
Well, like you said, my name is Sandra Martinez. I am born and raised my whole life in Chicago, Illinois. My ethnicity is Puerto Rican. I am a proud mom of two kids, my son and my daughter. And my work background, I would say for the most part, was blue collar until about maybe 20 years ago. I did start working in a corporate America in a call center. And then with that experience, I moved over to now currently working with alongside my best friend, who she started a company called Balm Global. And now after being friends with her for over 38 years, now I work alongside with her. And then with that, we have a wonderful community called Ladies of Leadership, where we come together and we empower women. And that is my baby right there, Ladies of Leadership.
I love that. I love that. Thank you for the introduction. And yes, so today it's going to be girlfriend time talk. So you're used to it. You and your bestie talk. So now you and I know I'm not your bestie, but that's all. I'm close. I'm getting close there. Yes, we're just gonna have
You're up there.
we're just gonna have a girlfriend time talk, a conversation that most of the time happens between girlfriends. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you don't have some in your hand to drink, go grab one and come and have a seat because this is going to be exciting. And gents, this is going to be very good for you. All right? I'm just warning. And one more thing I want to say, we're just having this conversation as two people who've been through life. Experiences. We are talking about sex. Yes, we are not experts. We're not claiming to be licensed professionals in the field. We're just sharing our experiences or maybe some stories that we've heard from our girlfriends, and we're sharing it here and just talking about it. All right. And again, you may disagree with us, and that's totally okay. Every opinion is respected. If you want to share your thoughts, please share it in the comment or send me an email to guest@healingtrain.ca. All opinions are welcome. So, Sandra, sex with the ex. Oh, yes or no? What do you think
I
about
have
that?
I have been there and done that multiple times with the same person. Yes,
Okay, so
absolutely.
Sandra, why do we do it? Let's just go back to the psychology of why do we do it?
Why do we do? Okay, well, I'm going to speak for myself, my own experience, right? Again, I did it several times with the same person, and the first time I think it was more because it was a comfort thing,
Mm.
right? You know me, I know you, we know each other, not only, you know, mentally, but we're talking about sex, so the physical, right?
Yeah. You're
You know me
comfortable with
physically.
each
Yes,
other's
you're
body.
comfortable.
You already know. Mhm.
You know the ins and outs of the person. So why not?
Yeah, it's the
Why not just
familiarity,
go back
going
to
back to the
what
familiar.
you're comfortable with?
Mm, mm,
I've done. Was it the best decision in the world? Absolutely not. But when you're in that feeling, in that motion, right, where you have the needs,
mhm,
you kind of gravitate. And if that person is still there and willing, you're gonna gravitate to what's comfortable to you.
mhm, mhm. So that's one of the reasons, the familiarity, right? But what about if we're not over them? And maybe there's a part of us who misses that connection we once had. And that's why we go
Absolutely.
back thinking that if we were to get reacquainted in that area, then it would spark love. Because women, with us women, we are emotional beings, right? And we get very attached when we become sexually involved with someone. It's very well known. Like it's a known thing. Some men do too, but not all men. Some men can separate the sex from a relationship or love or wanting to be with someone. I don't know. We're made differently, I think. I really believe that we are. So I'm wondering if some women end up going back and being with their ex in that way, almost fooling themselves that, oh no, we're just having fun. Like, let's just say me and you are two girlfriends talking. I'm like, yeah, I just had a thing with my ex the other night, like just confessing to you. And I'm like denying to myself why I'm really doing it. And then now it's your turn as my girlfriend to wake me up. What would you tell me?
Wow. The the times that I did it, I feel like I'm in a man's point of view at this point because I kind of did it for selfish reasons without the feelings involved. And that so I can't really speak in the sense where you're
Okay.
trying to go back or you're gonna have that moment with your ex with the with the mindset of what if there's that opportunity, what if there's that extra chance. So
Mm.
I never did it with that mentality, so it's a little bit more different for me. I would have to say that I did it for selfish reasons, for my own selfish reasons,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, but if I was just your
So
friend and coming and telling you I'm getting caught up in this, and now you're being my
so
friend, even if you haven't gone through it, what would go through your mind? What would you want to tell me to wake me up?
and I haven't gone through it.
Yeah, it's okay. You don't have to
Oh,
go through something in order to wake someone else up. You just look at what the person is doing to themselves.
that's a tough question because see the thing is that it would all depend on how we are in our relationship. How far deep can I go in with telling you this is not a good thing for you to do? Because when it comes to relationship, it's hard for me to kind of give the do's and the don'ts or the shoulds or should nots
Mm,
because you're getting into someone else's relationship, right? And that's how you say that's a very um sensitive
mm,
position to be in,
mhm.
right? When you're talking to someone that is going through an emotional whatever it is with someone else.
Yeah,
So I can probably sit there and tell you, since you're coming to me to ask my opinion, then that means you're opening the door to receive, right?
totally.
I will probably tell you that's not a good idea. Let's think about how is it that your relationship ended the first time.
Mm,
Okay. And if you went through this relationship where you went back and forth because it happened where you broke up multiple times and went back to that person, then if it happened in your case, then we're going to look at it and analyze it. Okay. You broke up with this person 2 times, 3 times. Why? Now ask yourself, do you want to go back to that person? give yourself to that person again. Is that person worthy enough? You can suffer a few more days. Sit on that, suffer a few more days until that emotion goes away. Because once that emotion goes away, best believe that your mindset is going to be completely different. You're probably going to be like, I'm glad I didn't go there. Right?
You're right on. You are right on,
I
actually.
wish I was able to give myself that advice back in the day, but that's okay.
Well, you said in your case it was a little different. You knew, you were well aware why you were doing what you were doing. And that brings me to the next point. When is it, do we stop? When is enough? And you're like, okay, I'm cutting this out. This is no good. What happens?
For me, I'm going to speak again. And for me, for how my experience was, when I actually sat in my own space and realized that I was doing it for all the wrong reasons and for the selfish reasons, and for those around me that was being hurt as well at the same time. So I had to take my selfish reasons, put them aside, and it wasn't also fair to him either. As much as I wanted to, blame him for a lot or whatever the case was, it wasn't fair to him. And it wasn't going to be fair to me moving on to a next relationship. And that happened to me. Because I do believe that I do believe in karma. I do believe that you pay for what you do. So I started thinking about all that. Of course, I got to look at my kids and their future, what they see and stuff like that. Not them saying that, show that part of me to them, but still, they grow up, they still see, they still hear, they still learn. So, I have to be their role model. So with that, that also puts that into perspective as to, yeah, no, I need to stop. This is not right for me. This is just not right, period. It's not good for you, for your self-esteem, for your self-growth. I mean, for me personally, like I'm saying, for me, I was like, yeah, this is not for me. This is enough. I'm hurting. I'm not going, I'm staying stuck. That was another big thing. I realized I was being stuck. It was a rinse and repeat thing. Why do you want to rinse and repeat something that you know that is not going to get no more, it's not going to get no better because you keep on going back? You know what I'm saying? So that would be probably another advice I would give you, right? Why do the rinse and repeat? Because you're not at the end, you're going to get the same outcome at the end of the day, if not worse.
So from what I'm hearing from you, I mean, it sounds like if we're clear on why we are doing it, and maybe just for a period of time, it's kind of okay. I mean, technically it's not, but let's just say we have a few moments of weakness, a few days of weakness, a few weeks of weakness, let's say. And you're like, okay, whatever, right? Let's just enjoy and have fun. It needs to be with an understanding and awareness. The moment it
Absolutely.
becomes you're on cloud nine and you start to fantasize, or you're just convincing yourself that, hey, this could be the beginning of something new, when you're not confronting yourself with, well, why did this even break up from the first place? That means there is something not right in this relationship. He's gonna break my heart again. So why go back? Right?
Mhm.
So that's a good one. Also, another point I'm thinking about is, if are the two on the same page, right? Because sex with the ex cannot always mean that both of them know that they're just there having fun. One may be thinking it's fun, and one is getting emotionally attached again.
Yep,
It could be giving mixed
absolutely.
signals. Sex with the ex could be giving mixed signals to the other person, especially if you're not communicating and verbalizing what is this. Because Sandra, is actually hard. Sex with the ex is not something you talk about. You just
Mhm.
end up
Happens.
yourself in it. You're like, okay,
Mhm. It kind of just
doing this.
happens.
You don't talk about it.
Yeah, it kind of just happens. And again, that's where the comfort comes in.
Yeah.
Because you know when you're having sex with the ex, you know exactly how that person functions. And you know what? It say, for instance, if it's me, I'm the one trying to provoke the situation. I'm gonna know exactly how to push your buttons.
Yeah.
I'm gonna know exactly what to do to you. I
You know
know
the
your
weak
weakness, Bob.
points. That's
I
right.
know exactly, and it's vice versa. And so, which means that if I know it should be talked about, right? But if we're not talking about it, I'm gonna know your signals. I'm gonna know, okay, you're down just as I am. So let's just,
Yeah.
and just like I know if you're not into it.
Yes.
So again, it goes back to the comfort. It's all about to not it's not that it's all about, but I would like to say that I believe that majority of the time when you go back to your ex for sex is mainly because of the comfort.
And a little side note, you're only gonna go back to sex with the ex if the sex was good from the beginning. If it
Yeah,
wasn't, you're
yeah,
not
yeah.
going back.
You're right. You're right. Absolutely. That plays a huge role. Huge
Because
role.
because
Yes, yes.
Sandra, it's about there's a chemistry there, right? Sometimes a relationship between two people can be amazing when it comes to the sex, but when it comes to the relationship itself, it isn't. Something is missing there. So you end up getting drawn to that sex part because you're so compatible and you pleasure each other and you understand each other and when you're done, it feels amazing and you're connected. It's not like it's just, okay, now I'm done, bye bye. You actually are connected just in that moment. Then put back your clothes on and start going on with life. Mm-mm. Start arguing and fighting over things and the incompatibility starts to show.
And it happened to me, and that's why I was like, okay. And I'm not going to give you the amount of numbers how many times I try to go back and get and laugh. But you're right. If you're not emotionally attached, and if it's the sex that keeps on calling you back, you're gonna keep on going back until you realize that. I don't know how many times you're willing to go back before you realize that the emotional attachment's not there, the chemistry's not there, other than the sex part, the communication, whatever it is that is missing to keep you guys in a relationship is not there. That's when you realize, okay, sex cannot keep on bringing us back. Like, no.
And Sandra, in many cases, it's the women that keep going back. Again, I'm not saying that men aren't also attached and they go back thinking, it could be better this time, it could be better this time. But it's the women, I would say, because again, like I mentioned, the emotional factor for us, it's part of who we are. We think that things are going to be different this time. We
You know,
always imagine that. Hmm.
yeah, and another thing that I wanted to mention, sometimes us women, we go back because of what we hear, of what they're telling us.
Mm.
Okay. We broke up with you for whatever reason, but now you're showing us a whole different side of you that I never saw and I'm liking,
Mm.
right? So I'm getting drawn back. And that's where narcissist comes in.
I was just gonna say that sounded like manipulation, but again, it's a fine line because not every person that does that is a narcissist per
Oh,
se,
no.
but it still is manipulation.
Mhm.
If the person is showing something that isn't true about them, but just to get their ex to come back, you're being manipulative. Straight up. Okay, we're not gonna sugarcoat this one. But are you doing it intentionally, maliciously, or is it just you're the only way you think you can get them back, so that's why you do it, and then you're kind of doing it out of love, let's say, even though it's not really healthy. But let's just say between you and yourself, as you're thinking, you're like, okay, I know she likes this, so I'm just gonna do these things for her because I know she's gonna love it. But
Mhm.
deep down, it's not really you. So you're
Mhm.
fooling yourself, first of all, and you're fooling the other person, and you're being manipulative, and everybody's gonna get hurt in the end.
Yep.
Are you enjoying your journey on the healing train? I hope you are, just as much as I am loving this conversation and every conversation with every guest. We are talking about sex, relationships, becoming empowered, and yes, healing too. We need to heal the old narrative around our relationship with sex, pleasure, and our bodies. A lot of work goes into these episodes, and I would love for more people to find this. If you felt how powerful my message is, support this channel, this platform, wherever you are tuning from. Give some love, comment, and share it. It only takes a few seconds to help this show and help me reach more people. Thank you. And that's what happens.
Yep. That's exactly what happens.
But let's talk about when we're no longer together, okay? And we somehow build a friendship. Exes that find a way to make it just about friendship. They don't cross that line for a long time. And then one day, one day, they're just talking and they're looking into each other's eyes and boom, it happens, right? They don't really talk about it anymore. They don't say what we did. They're just like, nah, move on. And then it happens again and again and again and again. And then it becomes a situation of friends with benefits, even though they were an ex. And sometimes it could happen without someone being an ex. They could just really just have been a friend this whole time. And then you cross that line and then you become friends with benefits. And that really, literally what that means is that you're having sex with someone that you're not in a relationship with. You're not dating. It's not a committed long-term relationship. There's no future to it, or you've never discussed it at least. But you end up finding yourself in this situationship. Why do people end up in these kinds of situationships?
Okay. For me, when I was living my single life, I did have your one or two friends with benefits, but I'm gonna speak on one experience which was very, very awesome, to be honest. This person knew exactly what friends with benefit meant. He knew that he wasn't gonna go nowhere with me farther than what, and I knew him as well. But we respected each other in the sense of you don't go nowhere else, I don't go nowhere else. Whenever we are mutual with that. Um, Now we did have the agreement of if you start talking to someone and it gets serious, you start vice versa, you let us know. We will continue our friendship. And like if nothing's ever happened, and that's exactly how it went. And
Wow.
we did that for almost probably like a year and a half to 2 years before.
That speaks of the
So
maturity.
it
That's what it
worked
is. It requires
very well for
maturity.
us. And let me tell you, I'm not gonna give his age, but he was a little younger than I, right? Um, but it was cool. He was fun. It was fun. Exactly the way friends with benefits should be was exactly how that went. Exactly. So I mean, I guess I'm one of the lucky ones that with the few friends with benefits
Where it worked
I did
out.
have, they worked out.
Yes. I believe that friends with benefits situationships, okay, there's a protocol
Mhm.
that's in a way unspoken. I
Oh,
mean, in
yeah.
some cases it can be communicated,
Mhm.
depending on the dynamic and on the individuals, right? It's not a one size fits all again. But I believe generally speaking, when you end up in these types of I call them relationship. I like calling them situationship because it's not a relationship technically. There are these protocols and one of them is respect.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
some people may think, well, you're using each other for sex and there's respect. How does that add up? Actually, there is. There's a huge amount of respect to be involved in a situation like this, right? Where you respect each other's time, you respect each other's boundaries, you respect each other's needs, right? There is no expectations that are being forced, like, oh, you're supposed to do this or you're supposed to do that. For example, you don't have to call, you don't have to message, there is no obligation. It's, hey, you want to meet up? Sure. And if it's a no, no hard feelings. It's like, okay, next time. It's like that. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And
Exactly like
even
that.
better, even better, Sandra, when you're in this situationship and you can actually go out for dinner together from time to time. Not all the times, because again, it's not expected. It's not a relationship. You're not dating. right? But if you're in this type of situationship and it's very mature, you'll have this respect, you'll honor each other's space, time, all that. You can actually go out and enjoy a meal together, and you can talk about some deep
Anything.
stuff too,
Mhm.
right? And it almost feels like you are in a relationship, but there's freedom with it.
Mhm.
There's so much freedom. You're so relaxed. You're not worried. And that makes you wonder, why can't a committed long-term relationship be like that? The moment you
Bigger.
put a title to it, the moment you say, I'm your boyfriend, I'm your girlfriend, I'm your husband, I'm your wife, the title somehow messes with our minds, right? Or when we get married, the piece of paper and the ring that we have on our finger somehow changes things. And then it becomes about, oh, you're not supposed to do that. You're my wife now. Oh, you're not supposed to be saying this. You're my husband now. Like, what happens to us when we're having so much fun when there's no rules and no labels and whatever? But the moment we get into these committed relationships, it just all changes and the fun goes away. And can we talk about that a little bit?
I feel like sometimes when we have those like you said, those titles is like with those titles, you're obligated to do these things when you don't have to. You don't just because you have the title doesn't mean that you're obligated to do the dishes or whatever the case is, or be at your beck and call because I'm your this or I'm your that. You know what I'm saying? And I think that was probably one of the reasons why it took so long for me to want to get married, because of the fact that I love the dynamic between me and my husband, that I didn't want to change that because of that. I didn't want that paper to change anything. I didn't want I did want the ring. I'm not gonna lie, I did want the ring, right? But I was still scared because of the fact, I went through it one time,
Mm,
and to go through it a second time, it was very, very sacred for me. I didn't want to repeat the same mistakes I did the first time, right? And the first times I did it for all the wrong reasons,
mm,
for the obligation of how it should look,
mhm,
how it should be in when you're at home with kids and husband and all that. Like I want you no, we have to change our mentalities and realize that that's not it's not something, it's not a pattern that we have to follow.
mhm,
We don't have to follow the same patterns that have been done for God knows how long. We
mm,
already know that sometimes those patterns don't work, so why not break that cycle and change it? You don't need the paper, you don't need the ring, you don't need none of that. If you have the trust, the communication, whatever it is that you need to make that relationship work, then that is all you need. You don't need all that extra nonsense. You don't need it. Now, again, if you're one and you're having that perfect communication, open communication, where you're both in agreement, that because sometimes, remember, you want the marriage because of, it's sacred for you and it's just your dream, and it could be the opposite for your partner. They don't want that. So where then do we balance that off?
mm,
Not because we're afraid of how it's going to look on paper, but they're not looking at as how it's going to look on paper. They're looking at it as the full commitment.
mm,
Like I want you. I want to be the rest of my life with you. I want to spend the rest of my life with you. I want to do it all with you, right? I want the wedding. I want the kids. I want the house. I want it all. How do we now? How we're going to flip the question? How do we accommodate them when we're not on that same page because we're afraid of how we're going to look on a piece of paper?
mm,
Happened to me.
mm.
I was afraid of that piece of paper. I was afraid of that signature because of how it happened to me the first time,
Yes.
right? The control and all that. He didn't want, he was like, no, I want the commitment. I want it all. I want it to the end. So
Mm,
I had to figure myself out. And I had to learn how to adapt, not learn how to adapt. I don't want to say learn to adapt, but learn how to meet him halfway.
right.
Okay. Because if you're meeting my needs, I have to meet your needs too, because we're a team. And obviously with growth,
I was just going to
with
say that. That was at the tip of my tongue. I was going to
with
say there
growth,
was
with
growth there.
communication. Yes, with growth and communication and having those conversations, very important. You learn and you come to with terms that it's not so bad. I can do this. I'm not gonna take what happened to me the last time and bring it to what's in my future now. I
Mm.
can't let what messed me up the last time mess me up now. That wouldn't be fair.
So I guess, Sandra, it would be safe to say that when we are entangled in the sex with the ex, we're in the growing phase. We haven't grown yet. So if someone right now, any of you out there, if you're having sex with your ex, you're in the growing phase. You're not you're not there yet. You're in the healing process, perhaps, right? And again, we're not
Absolutely.
saying this to make you feel bad. Please don't think that we're saying this to make you feel terrible. It's natural. We all have done it at some point. Okay, maybe not all, but many of us have fallen into that because of our feelings, because of how we cope with the breakup sometimes, because we get attached, because we have needs. Okay, all of us, men, women, let's just call it what it is, right? So all that is happening. So if you're going back to your ex and knowing why you're doing what you're doing, enjoy it. Okay. But there is an expiry date to that. There has to be a moment where it's enough is enough because you could be holding yourself back. It's not could be, you are. You are holding yourself back from moving forward. You're just delaying what you need to do. Staying stuck in that energy because it's an energy. You're exchanging energy with another human
Mhm.
being. They could be a great person, right? But continuing to be sexually involved with them is not helping you. Is not helping you release, is not helping you move on. You may think in your head, yeah, but I'm mature enough and I'm strong enough and I know exactly what I'm doing. Okay, keep convincing yourself you're doing that. At some point, you still have to go through the release after you stop it because it takes a while after the physical separation where you physically stop being in each other's presence to go through the healing. You'll have to go through it. You can't escape it. You can't bypass it. You can't. And if you think that you have by going jumping into another relationship, my friend, you're not ready. This is a rebound. Now we can talk about another subject. The rebound sex. Sex with the ex, the rebound sex. There's so many kind of sexual relationships that we have, but I mean, okay, yeah, we're putting titles to it and we're trying to label it, but we're only putting the labels to it to make you understand what it is that we are doing. We are trying to understand our behaviors, our patterns. And a lot of the time they are toxic patterns ourselves. We can create toxic cycles unknowingly because we are unhealed, because we have trauma, because we don't have someone to guide us, because we don't have a friend that we can come and talk to and say, am I doing the right thing? Can you please like tell me like am I wrong to be doing this? But it feels so good, Sandra. It feels so good to be with him again. And then Sandra's
Yes.
going to say, but girl,
Run for your life.
run for your life, run for your life. Oh my God.
Run for your life. Don't stop. No, don't do it. Think,
Yes.
think before you do that again.
Yes, many times it's an escape, Sandra, because we don't want to confront ourselves with what we have to face, right? Sometimes it's grieving that relationship. We grieve it by just having sex with them. It's
Mhm.
because you're grieving the loss of them. You know you're losing them because that's how it feels like you're losing something. Meanwhile, we aren't actually losing. We're never ever losing. We're always gaining a new version of ourselves every time we leave a relationship behind and move on. Even though, yes, it's sad, but that is something we have to accept that we
Mhm.
have, not everybody's going to be in your life forever. There's someone in every phase in your life. And I believe that that's totally okay. Of course, some people may disagree with me and say, you're supposed to only have one partner for the whole life. From the moment you lose your
Right.
virginity till the end of time, you're supposed to be one person. And that's fine. I respect your opinion if that's what you believe in. I don't.
Absolutely.
I don't. And I believe that there's different people in different phases in your life, and you could explore it as long as you're being honest with yourself and with the other person.
Absolutely.
Communication always is the key here for both of you to be on the same page, because when one of you isn't, that person is going to get hurt. And in the end, both of you are going to get hurt because you're going to feel guilty and bad for hurting them without intending to. And usually that's the guy. He will feel
Mhm.
guilty for hurting her again. And he'll be like, but I didn't mean to. And then he'll say something like, but I thought you knew what this all was from the beginning. And she'll be like, but no, but I thought we were reconnecting and I thought you loved me still. And I thought we wanted to be more. And he'd be like, no, honey, that was all in your imagination. You created that in your head. And he's right. As cruel as that is, he's right. You created
Well,
that in your head.
we say her. There's he's too. He
Correct,
goes through it
correct.
as well. Yeah,
Totally. Yes, it
I
happens
think
both ways.
sometimes I think it's worse on the guy when he's going through those type of
He has the
emotions.
expectations, and then she's the one that's like, nah,
I think it's more worse on him than it is for us women.
Mm.
Not that I'm trying to take away from us women, but
Yeah.
I think
No,
it's a
it's
little
true.
bit
I
more
agree.
harsh on them. Yeah.
It is.
Yeah. When their
Hmm.
emotions are attached, it's a little bit more difficult.
Yes, and that's the thing. When people think that we're just having sex, when they just say that, everybody says that, oh, we're just having sex. Mm-mm. I think you're fooling yourself, my friend. It's not just sex.
Mm-mm.
There's more than that.
Sometimes
Something is
it's
in there. You
pity.
just haven't figured it out yet.
Sometimes it's pity sex.
Ooh.
It's happened. It's happened. Pity sex.
Oh my God, people, if you've ever had free sex or know someone that had free sex, write it in the comments. I want to hear about this.
Open up a whole can of worms, a
That's
Pandora box.
crazy. Actually, if you've had rebound sex, say that you have, or say that you know someone that has. I don't care what you say, but just write something. Say, talk about rebound sex, talk about sex with the ex, talk about pity sex. And if there's any other sex that we haven't discussed in this episode, please tell us about it because I want to know all the other kinds of sex that aren't involved in a relationship. We've covered quite a bit today. I mean, our topic was mainly that's what I wanted to talk about is the sex with the ex, but it led us into other um holes, okay. Pun intended. I'm having fun. Didn't I say this was going to be a fun episode? And didn't I say it's just girlfriend talk? I'm sitting here in front of the camera, and so is Sandra, and we're having this conversation as if we're together in her place or my place, and we're having a glass of something and just having a good time talking about this in a very, very light way. And I hope you're laughing with us. I hope you enjoyed this conversation. And Sandra, if there are any more final words you want to leave us with, you're welcome to. Otherwise, I'm good. I'm so good.
No, just thank you for having me. Thank you for trusting me and sharing my story with you. Obviously, I love these topics, and if you if you ever do another sex topic again, you can include me. I love this. This was amazing.
Thank,
I love it.
thank you, Sandra.
And by the way, for you people, men, women, anybody who's sitting there thinking about contemplating, should I or shouldn't I have sex with my ex? Do not do it. Go read a book, go take a cold shower, go do anything but go have sex with your ex. No.
And with that, ladies and gentlemen, I'll see you in the next episode on the Healing Train podcast with Rania.